I'm Chris McDonough, a retired homicide detective. I've interviewed thousands of people, from serial killers to ministers. Welcome to the interview room. So I'm standing in front of the property of Alex and Maggie Murdaugh. This is where it all went down, in possession of a shotgun, which obviously later on it would be argued that gunshot residue was found on his hands because he was holding a shotgun that evening. And so these are the kind of clues that Alex dropped early about his alibi, and it took place right on the other side of this property. See all the kennels and the farmhouses, but listen how quiet it is out here. It's amazingly quiet. And what we used to do in homicide cases where sound was a question, you could sometimes bring in acoustic engineers and to see how far that sound travels. But what was interesting here, again, I want to point out, this is kind of like a gun range out here. Nobody's here. You could shoot guns here all day long and nobody would hear or care. Alex understood that. So now I'm going to take you up to the area where Alex Murdaugh said he got a flat tire. He got out of the car where somebody ambushed him while he was changing that tire. So let's go and see what that area looks like. It is exactly 9.2 miles from Alex's front door. We're right now about 5.5 miles down this road to where the flat tire takes place. So, interesting thing about this from a behavioral aspect, he's keeping things very close to an environment that he's comfortable with And also, it's rural enough that nobody would have heard that gunshot. And if they would have discovered him with that gunshot wound, it would have looked like he was just changing his tire. As we drive out here, I'm about a mile away. I gotta be honest with you. You've really gotta know this area, or you would not know that this road was here. And it just goes to show you that there may have been some pre-planning in this. And we're coming up to the church now, about 0.5 of a mile. You can see it up on the right up here. You're gonna see the church. So this is the location where this case takes a bizarre twist.
On September 4th, 2021, in the afternoon, Alex Murdaugh was driving the family Mercedes. He says he came to this area, drove to this area, and he had some kind of a flat tire. He calls 911 to report that he was shot in the head. He was taken to a hospital in Savannah, Georgia for a superficial wound to the head. Now, what makes this very bizarre, obviously, is this was 3 months, almost to the day, after the murders of Maggie and Paul.
Somehow has a tire issue. And he reports that he's fixing his tire and somebody shoots him. Now let's look around. There is not a car for miles in this area. It is so quiet, if a gunshot was heard, you wouldn't think anything of it. Because this is the perfect staging location for that type of event. I had a case years ago where a wife had called her husband into the brush, something like this, and they ambushed him. And it was a perfect attempt at a perfect crime, but it didn't work. Here at the Hampton Cemetery in South Carolina, not far from where Paul and Maggie lived, is their final resting place. I think we should always remember that these two victims died in a horrific event. Unlike their grandfather next to them, who died of natural causes. You know, having worked homicide all the years that I have, I always try to pay respect to the real victims of these horrific crimes. And I also remember how those who were arrested for perpetrating these crimes is put into the courtroom in a very good light. These individuals, Maggie and Paul, did not choose to be here in this, their final resting place. Let's remember that as we watch the trial of Alex Murdaugh. me is the home where Maggie Murdaugh was living at the time of her murder. It's believed that from this house, Alec had lured her on the pretense to come and visit with him to go see his sick father. Okay? And he lured her potentially to the hunting lodge. And at the hunting lodge, obviously, it's alleged that he had taken her life. So this is the home where the family would gather, where she would stay, and where she felt a very, very comfortable place to be. But more importantly, I think it's getting overlooked. This was a safe place for Maggie, almost an hour away from Alec.
Vitamins and history books, psychology and a different way to look at it all. 'Cause my perspective is broken. If suffering's a way to earn your keep, I better start putting miles on my feet. But I'm so tired of wandering. Yeah, I'm lost, but I'm living. Yeah, I'm lost. Can I be forgiven? I thought by now pain would be my friend. I know that discomfort was a means to an end, but I'm lying in a warm bed. No, I'm lost, but I'm living. Cannot be forgiven. Claustrophobic and comfortable. I smother myself in what I know. I'm claustrophobic and comfortable. I smother myself in cannot be forgiven.